NEMESIS at ALTON TOWERS was one of the UK's best and most iconic rides, but it's closed now until 2024 for a retracking that will give it a whole new lease of life. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the ride and giving my thoughts on the retracking. Welcome to Coaster Extra. We're going to start off with the review. Now, NEMESIS is one of the more unique looking rides, as it's not a super tall ride or anything, but it instead dives into valleys, caverns, dips in the terrain, sort of rides down a big hill. It's a very unique ride to look at, and the reason this is the case is because ALTON TOWERS cannot actually build above the tree line. This is why rides like Oblivion go deep down instead of starting high up. Now, this actually gives the ride a lot of character. It's not like a typical invert because it really does follow the terrain, and that adds a lot to the ride. Now, the theme of NEMESIS is a bit weird. It's kind of like some monster that's almost invaded the landscape. You can sort of see that with the station, which kind of looks like a skeleton of a monster with loads of like arteries and looks like a heart on there in places. There's an eye, you know? The station seems to be like the monster, and then the track is like its limbs sort of reaching out. It's a bit of a strange theme, but I like it, and it has some good little props that go along well with that theme. Now, onto the ride experience. You start by going up your lift hill, and this just takes you up the hill. You follow the terrain here. Then you come around a little curve, down a sort of quite shallow drop, but this really does build the speed. Then you go into a corkscrew, and this is a super whippy inversion. You're also quite high off the pathway here, and it's actually a really, really cool element. I do like it. Super whippy in the back row, you get a great view in the front, and yeah, an all-round solid element there. And then you go into the most sort of standout element of the ride, is the one that all the enthusiasts rave about, and you know, I can see why. It is an amazing element. It's a downwards helix that's ultra tight, and you just build and build in speed going down. You've got a rock face at your feet, and to the side of you, you're just twisting round. It's like 90 degrees, really sharp, pulls some great positive G's there. It is ultra fun, and it feels like it's never going to stop. You just keep gaining speed and keep coming down, and it's amazing. And this is where you reach your top speed of 50 miles per hour. Then you go into a 0G roll, pretty whippy inversion, but also quite floaty as well as a 0G roll should be. This takes you over the station. It is really, really nice. Then you come up again and go into a stall turn. Now, this element doesn't really do much. It's kind of just there to turn it around. It's got no real force to it or anything, but it's still a cool way as you go up to the top of the sort of hillside, rock side, and you just turn around slowly, get to like experience some of the landscape around you. It actually gives you a moment to catch your breath. Then you dive down again, pick up the speed, and you go into a vertical loop. That's your third inversion. This is pretty whippy in the back row, not quite so whippy in the front, but it's still super good of an element. I really do like it. Just really fun loop. Not the most intense moment on the ride, but that does not make it bad by any means. Then you dive down and you go into a tunnel now, sort of under one of the pathways, and you come up into this sort of weirdly profiled turn. It starts off quite shallow, then at the top it gets steeper, and then it goes shallower again as you go down. It's strange. It's kind of like the stall turn. It doesn't really do much. It's just there to turn it around, but it's fine. It doesn't kill the pacing or anything. It's just there. Then you dive into another tunnel and go through what I think is the whippiest inversion on the ride. It's another corkscrew, but you sort of are really close to a somewhat river-like lake thing. You dive under a pathway, and then you come up into the inversion, and this is ultra whippy. Wherever you sit, you get thrown about in this, and I love it. It's not rough, it's not uncomfortable. You just get like thrown through this inversion, and it's really, really fun. Then you come up into a curve into the brake run. This is such a good ride. Now, it's not my favourite at ALTON Towers. My favourite ride at ALTON Towers is actually the Smiler, That can be quite controversial for some people, but no, Nemesis is in solid second place. It is such a good ride, and the night rides on it are beautiful. I really, really do like it, how it's lit up red. Yeah, that's going to do it for my review. But now on to my thoughts on the retracking. I think it is honestly the right thing to do. I think ALTON Towers have made a great decision, because it's going to give the coaster a whole new lease of life. It's already been going strong since 1994, and, you know, it's still really smooth, but it makes sense they're going to retrack it now. I don't think they'd want to let it get rough, because that would sort of ruin the ride for some people. So I think it's a really good idea to retrack it now. Yes, it's going to be closed for a year or two, but then it's going to reopen stronger than ever, and I think it's really great. However, there are a couple of downsides I can think of. I think for the first year, it's going to run a bit slower, like all new coasters do, while the paint's wearing off the track, while the wheels are getting used to it. I think the first year, it's going to be not quite as good as it was. It might be smooth, but it's not going to be quite as intense and forceful as it was. But that does not mean it's going to be bad in any way. Then you've got the issue of the trains. Now, I hope they keep the old style of the trains. If they change it to vest restraints, I will not be happy. As much as vest restraints are fine for me on wing coasters, and I don't have too much of a problem on them, I feel like it just wouldn't work on a ride like Nemesis. I honestly think that Nemesis is great. You feel so free in the restraint, and it's really important to have that on elements like the 0G roll and some of the corkscrews. Yeah, I really hope they don't put vest restraints on it. I don't think they will, but if they do, you know, that will be a downside. Also, some of the profiling will be changed slightly, but I don't really think you're going to notice that. So, once again, not anything that would be a problem, nothing that would be an issue. Yeah, I think the retracking is going to be good, and it gives them something else to market as well. It's not like they can sell it as a whole new ride experience or anything, but it still gives them something to market. It will draw crowds, and yeah, I honestly think it was the right move for the park, and yeah, they've made a good decision in retracking it, and yeah, I'm really hopeful that it's going to just give it a whole new lease of life, which it will, and yeah, be a really good investment for the park. So, that's going to call it there for my video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, liking and subscribing would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.